Hello! What's up, wrestling fans? My name is Aaron, and this is Wrestling by Waldridge. And welcome to my match ratings and review of Hell in a Cell. So, we kicked things off with the first Hell in a Cell match, Bayley versus Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Bianca clearly proved that she was the superior athlete early on, which meant that Bayley took lots of shortcuts to take control of the match. She used Bianca's hair against her yet again, and also introduced loads of weapons into the match. The weapons definitely helped to emphasise the personal rivalry between these two women, and I loved the callback to Bayley's last Hell in a Cell match with Sasha Banks, where this time she did bring out two kendo sticks joined together with sellotape. However, some of the selling could have been a little bit better, especially from Bianca with her left arm, and besides an excellent sunset flip into the cell, there wasn't really too much interaction with the cell itself, but the match was well paced and it got given a lot of time to tell the story. And ultimately, Bayley's antics eventually caught up with her, and in an awesome looking finish, Belair hits Bayley with the KOD onto a ladder to pick up the victory and retain her title. And then next up, Seth Rollins versus Cesaro. So this was quite an even matchup where Rollins played the cunning heel, mostly epitomised by his attacks to the eyes of Cesaro. Sounds quite familiar, doesn't it? As well as the finish. But Cesaro kept finding ways to thwart Rollins with his power. Both men were unsuccessful in hitting their finishing manoeuvres after multiple attempts, but it did look like Cesaro was going to win the match after a sequence which transitioned from a swing into a crossface and then into a sharpshooter, but the crafty Rollins managed to counter the sharpshooter and pick up the win with a roll-up. I thought Cesaro nursed his afflictions from Rollins' offense as well as ever, and it was really good to see Rollins sell the sharpshooter after the match had finished, which could have easily been forgotten. For me, it wasn't as good as their Mania contest, but it was another solid match between the two. Not so sure about the result with Rollins winning. I probably would have preferred Cesaro to win, as it does look like the feud is going to continue, but there you go, we'll have to see what happens. And then Shayna Baszler versus Alexa Bliss. And I suppose it was better than I thought it would be. The match did tell a serviceable story of Shayna's offense being largely ineffective against Bliss. Bliss prevented interference from Reginald and Nia Jax with her powers, and further tormented Shayna with mind games to allow her to quickly pick up the win. Both women can definitely go in the ring, so it was cool to see some decent wrestling, but I wasn't sure exactly who I was supposed to cheer for here. Both women are heels, so it made it quite difficult, and it's just a shame to see Baszler lose again. My girlfriend doesn't like Shayna Baszler, so she doesn't mind that she lost. But next up, we saw Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. Whenever there's a match between these two, you know you're going to get something that's above 3 stars at the very least. And whilst this match was marred somewhat by Owens injuring his arm after Sami's tope con hero, it was still another solid back and forth match which told a great story of Owens still favouring his throat from the Nigerian nail that Commander Aziz gave him. Naturally, this became the focus of a lot of Zayn's attacks and allowed him to control a lot of the match, despite Owens' determined comeback attempts. Owens did a good job of selling his throat, although I can understand the argument that he may have oversold it a little bit, and I loved how the story of the match played into the finish as Zayn kicked Owens in the back, which meant he landed on the ropes throat first. He then takes advantage, hits a haluva kick and picks up the victory. Yeah, it was good to see Sami win in another enjoyable Owens and Zayn match. And then it's Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship. Charlotte started the match very well by launching the title at Rhea Ripley's face, which did frustrate the young champion. She used her experience and mind games to control the initial stages of the match, and this all led into the predominant story of the match where Charlotte attacked Rhea's left leg, a lovely piece of psychology as it does set up for Charlotte's figure 8, and I thought Rhea did an admirable job of selling the left leg, particularly after Charlotte attacked it, and it was great to see some brawling mixed into the action as well to highlight the rivalry between these two, but there was some real sloppiness from Charlotte with some of her kicks clearly not connecting with Rhea. Rhea showed her toughness and got back into the match, but Charlotte eventually managed to successfully apply the figure 8. However, it didn't end there as Rhea dragged both of them to the outside of the ring, and then she got disqualified by hitting Charlotte in the face with a part of the announce table, which gave Charlotte the win. Another solid match which was let down again by a bad finish. And then finally, the main event between Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley inside the Hell in a Cell for the WWE Championship. And wow, these men beat the living crap out of each other at quite a fast pace for 20 minutes plus, to the point where you could see red marks forming all over their bodies. And the match told a great story of two men just unleashing their disdain for one another by inflicting as much punishment as possible. The aggression from Drew and Bobby was awesome, and as the match progressed, the level of violence drastically increased. There were loads of weapons being used, and it was also great to see the cell being used as a weapon quite a lot too. However, once again, I think the match was let down by another underwhelming finish, and I think it was also slightly overbooked after the ref got knocked out. MVP got involved, and whilst Drew did satisfyingly take him out, he did manage to recover. He distracted Drew, which allowed Bobby to roll him up for the win. Yeah, underwhelming. But still, it was a great match for the most part, and it was probably my match of the night. Overall, I thought it was a good pay-per-view, nothing spectacular, but definitely some solid wrestling, which could have been even better had it not been for the bad finishes. But that was my Hell in a Cell review, guys. As always, let me know what your favourite match of the night was in the comment section down below. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel, it means so much to me. You can follow me on Twitter at WrestlingByW. Please give the video a like, give it a share, hit the notification bell to be notified when I release new videos. I hope you all have a great week, guys, and I shall see you all next time. Bye bye.